The last thing I want to talk on tonight is Enneagram. You and I share, you know way more about it than I do, but really interested in Enneagram. And you're kind of something you've studied for years. I mean, I just found out about it probably like a year and a half ago. And earlier I heard you say that you've been looking at it for 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and why it's useful.
Wow. Well, the story, my wife's a family therapist, and about 8 years ago, I'm going to say this.
My mom's going to watch this, just so we're...
Oh, you can edit it out if you need to. My wife said, Steve, you're a 5. And I said, what the hell is a 5? And that's the truth. And I'm getting ready to get on a plane to go teach in Switzerland, so I bought a book on the Enneagram, and I read it all the way. Of course, I turned to the chapter on what is a 5.
Oh.
And the Enneagram is an old tool. It's a personality test that kind of shows you 9 orientations, how you're hardwired. And by the time I got to Switzerland, I realized, oh my gosh, I really am a 5. I'm a dysfunctional 5, which is a person that thinks with their head. And I get all these ideas in my head, and I'm thinking, I'm reading, and it drives her crazy. Steve, do something with it. Well, when I'm healthy, I go to an 8, which is a leader. You're an 8, and you can tell people about that in a minute. But as a 5, I process through my head rather than my heart or my gut. And once I had vocabulary for that,
Yeah.
I was able to say, you're right. What do I need to do to be healthy? Well, I need to take that idea and go put it into reality. Quit reading about it, quit writing about it. Or if you are going to read and write about it, go do it too. So that's what the last 8 years, I've been applying my life to being healthy. And a 5, when they're healthy, go to 8, which is to take that idea and put it into the real world. So the Enneagram has been a tool for me that helps understand first my hardwiring and explaining some of those weaknesses and strengths.
Yeah.
And then being able to coach myself on, okay, turn down those instincts that are negative, and take that instinct that's positive, that's a little harder to lean into, and go do that, and do that more often, and get comfortable with it. Yeah. And so it's been revolutionary for me, first of all, to understand who I am, and then when I'm in a team, once I found out he was an 8, I couldn't believe it. First of all, you tell me on the phone that you guys are studying the Enneagram, which is an ancient tool that not too many people, it's becoming more popular, but when I heard you understood it and knew what you were, I was so excited because I thought, okay, you have an insight into how you're hardwired. Yeah. Now you're also going to teach your team that. So my entire team, we teach the Enneagram. We each know kind of our hardwired instincts, and then we're able to, I'm going to work with an 8. They're going to be a little bit of a bully. They connect through conflict. They're going to be a little more aggressive. They're visionaries. They're people who lead an organization. Every organization needs at least one. We may not need 3 of you. We need the other strengths too to round out the team.
That's right.
So what's fun is I typed in Enneagram in business, and I was so excited. Boom! Oh, the business world is using it. HR is using it because you can then find out how you would place them in a team. Do we need a leader? No, we need a salesperson. Or do we need an accountant who's a 1? So each orientation has strengths and those kind of things. So I gave it to my team, and then now every one of my executives, expat executives, I give it to. So I've given it to maybe 30-some executives from 12 countries, and found it to be a really valuable tool. And it's universal. It's not looking at it as a culture.
Yeah.
It's looking at how we're hardwired, and you can generalize, and it's a universal tool. So that's the piece that it's a great tool for the toolbox. And I'm always telling people, what kind of tool can you put in the toolbox that you can pull out? Because when you have the right tool, you can do any job. When you don't have the right tool, you can try to put an IKEA furniture together, but unless you have the Allen wrench, you're out of luck.
Right.
So
That's
the
right.
Enneagram is, for me, it's a tool that can be learned pretty quickly, and then a lifetime of understanding it.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning, and I'm laughing with my wife now because I tell this story, and sometimes they edit it out, sometimes they don't, but it's a true story, and it really it was shocking. I wish I'd found it when I was your age, but I found it in my 50s, and now I'm going to apply it, so it's just a tool, like any of these things are tools to help us map where we are.
Yeah.
And I love maps because where you're going to go, you got to know where you're at.
Yep.
And know where you're going. And if you have these kind of tools, it's just like another tool. It's like a compass. Yeah. It gives you direction. It gives you an idea of where you're coming from.
It's been so helpful for our team because we were able to, it got things out on paper. Stuff that was buried in there. So yes, I can be controlling sometimes. And to see it on paper not only gave me the ability to talk about it more openly, but more importantly, it gave my team an opportunity to, you're doing that. And I didn't take it personally because I'm one of 9 types. And so it opened the conversation up for us to start to express ourselves and for us to hold each other accountable to a different degree. And yeah, in the middle of conflict, it's awesome to be able to go back to Enneagram and go, okay, that's why that probably happened. Oh, I did that, and this was the resultant consequence. And I love it because it doesn't just put you in a box as much as it helps explain a perspective.
Yeah, it gets you out of the box.
Exactly.
You don't want to be in that box.
You want to grow outside of that. You want to. So for me, I went, wow, I'm really weak in these areas, and to challenge myself to grow in those areas because I want to be complete. I want to be holistic. Now I'm going to have a preference and an orientation, like you said, but there's areas of weakness that I really have needed to develop in my own life, and Enneagram has been a phenomenal tool to help that happen.